Good Monday evening, June 23rd, and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Here are a few of the stories we have coming up for you tonight. Wenatchee Valley firefighters were summoned this morning to a two-alarm structure fire in the 800 block of Methow Street, which destroyed a rear carport and lot full of vehicles. As you probably noticed, the Palmas fire burning west of Eniat has begun to impact local air quality, increasing clouds and warmer on Tuesday with breezy and cooler weather for Wednesday. Your full local weather forecast is coming up. On Friday night, the Wenatchee Valley community gathered to remember the Decker girls, three young sisters lost to a horrible crime. The family of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker held a public memorial service at Rocky Reach Dam Park. More than 1,500 people attended and many more watched online. Speakers included the girls' mother, Whitney Decker, addressing the public for the first time since her daughters were taken from her home for a scheduled visit with their father, only to be found murdered 3 days later. Organizer Mark Belton said the event was planned in order to help the community cope with the shared grief of losing the three children who were just ages 5 through 9 years old.
Today's memorial is a time to grieve, to remember, and to honor three beautiful girls, each of whom brought you something uniquely special to the world. We hope this gathering offers a sense of solace to those who are hurting and a step toward healing and closure for the grieving community.
This community, all of you, have been a beacon in the darkest night. Through your acts of generosity and your prayers, your presence, and your love, our first responders, search and rescue, and tireless efforts of law enforcement, you have reminded us all, even in the shadow of something unthinkable, that the light still shines.
There are some people who step into your life and without even trying, change it forever. They don't do it through big, grand gestures or loud statements, but simply by being themselves. By showing up every day with kindness, joy, and with determination. Peyton was one of those people. She had a way of making others feel included, making sure no one was left behind, not because she had to, but because it was simply who she was.
One of the things that always stood out to me about Evelyn was the smile on her face. Sometimes that smile was hidden behind Brown Bear. He went everywhere with her. Brown Bear was her comfort, but once she'd get comfortable, he could sit to the side. And it would take her a few minutes, but then she would just shine bright, and she would have so much energy and so much spunk and kind of nudge the others along, whether it was her sisters or my girls, and say, come on, we're gonna go do it.
Olivia, she's the youngest of the three girls, but she quickly found her place in the family. And that's not always easy for the youngest. But Olivia had a way of carving her own space with ease. And I credit her mom, Whitney, for giving her a unique love and the attention that she needed, while Peyton and Evelyn were loving older sisters. I'll never forget this Easter when Olivia looked at Evelyn and said, I love that you play with me when you're busy or you don't want to.
I just have a short something to share. Good evening. I thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. You all look beautiful, and I know that Evie would have loved to ooh and ah over all of your outfits. She would have been amazed by all the color out there and just thought you guys look fantastic. You know that Peyton would have sought each and every one of you out to try to find something to give you a compliment for. She did that for everyone, whether it was in the grocery store or at school or with me, always telling me, oh, you look so beautiful, Mom, I love your earrings, or whatever it was that she could find. I wanted to share a means of connection the girls and I had that I think allowed them to have such warm and open hearts to the community around them. After my divorce, there were a lot of feelings flowing through my house. As you could imagine, me going through a divorce with three small, tiny women. Some of the feelings were easier to talk about than others. Through the girls' time with Children's Home Society and some incredible therapists, we discovered the 3 feelings. At night, during their bedtime routine, I would ask them what 3 feelings they felt during that day. No feeling too big or too small, and what was going on when they felt those feelings. For Peyton, she always had more than 3, consistently eager to tell me about every minute of her day. She was always interrupting her sisters to make sure I knew every single one. For Ev, we would talk about her feelings one-on-one, right at bedtime, because she wasn't always ready to share them with her sisters. And for Olivia, we were still working on how to describe all of her feelings, but beyond a shadow of a doubt, one was always happy. Even when I tried to avoid telling my feelings, which is so easy to do as an adult, I feel like, the girls, one of them would always say, "Wait, Mom, you didn't tell me what yours were," and make sure that I too would tell them what my 3 feelings were. I'm so thankful for the time that I had with the girls, and how the 3 feelings allowed us to connect when the world slowed down, and it really gave me an inside look into their day. I believe doing this with them allowed them to come into the world with open hearts and kindness. I hope that you are all able to do some version of the 3 feelings with your loved ones. Thank you everyone for being here tonight and the outpouring of love that you have shown me and my family over the past few weeks. I truly hope that the legacy of the girls' lives lives in everyone's heart forever. They were incredible.
One Wenatchee man was injured and another arrested following a shooting that occurred near 9th Street and North Mission Street on Saturday evening. Wenatchee Police Chief Edgar Reinfeld says that when officers responded to the scene minutes after the shooting was reported, they found a 21-year-old Wenatchee man with a severe gunshot wound. More than 6 witnesses pointed to 21-year-old Adiel Ricardo Aparicio of Wenatchee as the gunman. The victim was transported to Confluence Health Hospital Central campus and then later airlifted to Harborview Medical Center for his injuries. Aparicio was booked into the Chelan County Regional Justice Center on suspicion of assault with a firearm. Anyone with video footage of the incident is asked to call Rivercom's non-emergency line and speak to Detective Lorenzo Cornelio. Hundreds turned out Saturday for the 2025 Wenatchee Pride Festival celebrated in downtown Memorial Park. It's the 3rd Wenatchee LGBTQ+ Pride celebration since 2022, when the event returned after a hiatus during the COVID-19 pandemic. There are other Pride events still to come throughout this week, including a presentation on Tuesday of the celebrated 1990 documentary Paris is Burning, about the LGBTQ dance culture of New York. That's at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Wenatchee Valley firefighters were summoned this morning to a 2-alarm structure fire in the 800 block of Methow Street, which destroyed a rear carport and a lot full of vehicles and also damaged an adjacent 1-bedroom home. Fire Department Information Officer Kay McKellar says the blaze was reported at 3:45 a.m. and went to second alarm as crews tried to prevent further spread from the vehicle lot. The occupants of the other were able to exit safely and no one was injured. McKellar says the cause of that fire remains under investigation. When we come back, the Palmas fire burning west of Entiat has begun to impact local air quality, and shrub steppe ecosystems in north central Washington are being threatened by wildfire, and the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife is using prescribed fire to fix that. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Between juggling groceries, preparing meals, and lending a helping hand, you're a hero without a cape. But who's there to support you? Aging and Adult Care honors caregivers like you, the relatives, friends, and neighbors, helping loved ones remain safely at home. Aging and Adult Care offers chore services, respite, personal care, and more. Serving Chelan, Douglas, Grant, Lincoln, Adams, and Okanagan counties, call Aging and Adult Care at 1-800-572-4459 for caregiver support.
Central Washington Water understands the power of healing waters. If part of your wellness routine includes hot heat from a sauna, Central Washington Water now carries indoor and outdoor infrared and hot rock saunas by Tilo. Research shows there are many health benefits to a cold plunge after a good workout or relaxing time in your sauna. Harness the power of water in a hot spring spa, plug-and-play spas, a Tilo sauna, or a cold plunge tub. Stop by Central Washington Water, your wellness experts.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
The Palmas fire burning west of Entiat has begun to impact local air quality. Smoke from that wildfire pushed Wenatchee, Cashmere, Chelan, and neighboring communities into the moderate category on the Washington Air Quality Index. The lightning-caused fire continues to burn in the Glacier Peak Wilderness, partly on land burned by previous wildfires. A Type 3 Incident Command team set up temporary headquarters over the weekend at Entiat school facilities. There is no immediate threat to the town or to any private land. Estimates place the Palmas fire at about 1,060 acres. It was first reported 10 days ago. Democrats and outdoor advocates are pushing back against a congressional proposal to open up an estimated 250 million acres of western public land for sale, including 5.3 million acres in Washington. Utah Republican Senator Mike Lee added the plan to the One Big Beautiful Bill Reconciliation Act now being considered in the Senate. Lee's provision would allow sales of Bureau of Land Management acreage, shown in yellow, as well as U.S. Forest Service land, shown in green, including thousands of acres around the Wenatchee Valley. Washington Senator Maria Cantwell, a Democrat, points out the parcels for sale would include nearly the entire Methow Valley, as well as thousands of acres along the south shore of Lake Chelan. Lee and fellow Republicans have justified the proposal as a way to free up land for new housing. Shrub steppe ecosystems in north central Washington are being threatened by wildfire, and the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife is using prescribed fire to fix that. Shrub steppe consists of sagebrush and native grasses and provides shelter and food for endangered species. The department spent part of the spring leading a restoration project for the shrub steppe habitat at the Sagebrush Flat Unit in Douglas County. The project uses mowing and prescribed fire to mimic natural disturbance, control invasive species, and promote native plant regeneration. The next phase of the project includes another prescribed burn, habitat monitoring, weed control, and native seeding, and surveys of the endangered pygmy rabbit population. Coming up next, we will give you a look at the all-new Apple Cup Cafe in Chelan in tonight's feature story. Expect our temperatures to be slightly above normal through the week, with unseasonably hot weather returning this weekend. I'll have all the details coming up in your full local weather forecast. That and much more still to come tonight. Please stay with us.
Welcome to the summer of good. Good people, good taste, good vibes, and good, well, everything. When you're ready for some old-fashioned good, Abby's is your place. We've been celebrating summers around the PNW for over 60 years. At Abby's, good is a legendary tradition. Here's a good-looking pizza, guaranteed to bring some summer smiles. And right now, it's on sale, so it's good for your wallet too. This giant is loaded with toppings and can feed up to 6 people. Order at abbys.com. Give us a call or just drop by. It's the summer of good, only at Abby's Legendary Pizza.
The joys of sitting in traffic, burning gas, donating your paycheck to parking enforcement. Or you could join us this June for Ride Transit Month. On Link, you ride for free, anytime, anywhere. Plus, Link's electric buses run on clean local hydropower. Thanks, Columbia River. So while you're saving some cash, you're also saving the planet. So hop on board Link for Ride Transit Month. Stress-free, wallet-friendly, eco-smart.
The pitch by Busich. Swung on and lands Wenatchee Apple Sox are back on the NCWLIFE channel. Watch as they take on the Victoria Harbor Cats on Friday, June 27th. Coverage brought to you by our Platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. Also by Abby's Pizza, Apple Valley Honda, Biosports Physical Therapy, Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate, Global Car Care, Harvest Valley Pest Control, and Highlander Golf Course and Grill. Your exclusive television home for Apple Sox baseball is the NCWLIFE channel.
In tonight's features story, the Apple Cup Cafe has been in Ryan Peterson's family since the mid-1990s. But after a fire last March damaged the building beyond repair, Ryan and his wife Erin decided to call it quits. However, a surprising opportunity arose, and now the Apple Cup Cafe has a chance to live on in the Chelan community on Wooden Avenue.
It's been a rough year and a half for sure. You know, the fire started from a compressor for the walk-in freezer in the back of the building. Still haven't gotten any clarification on exactly what the reasoning was, what exactly went wrong, but you know, it's been a process. You know, anyone that's experienced a disaster like that is familiar with just the unfamiliarity. You know, trying to figure out your best move and manage and negotiate the right direction is really difficult. You know, the original intention was to salvage the building. I think we met with probably 9 different contractors, and you know, each one of them I told, no, we're not demoing. We're saving the building at whatever cost. And then that cost got ridiculous, so we changed tune and decided to demo and rebuild. You know, through the fire department, we actually did a control burn through them, and they used it as a training exercise. I want to say there was 50 firefighters that showed up, maybe more.
Yeah, and firefighters from every city around here.
Yeah, and it was actually really cool. I'm grateful we got to do that. Started hitting engineering and getting some bids back for the rebuild, and it was just
insurmountable.
Yeah, ridiculous numbers, you know. So we shifted gears. We actually decided to close down operations and just close the Apple Cup completely. And relatively soon after making that decision, announcing to our staff, we were approached by Larry Hibbert, who owned this building before, about leasing it. We declined, and then he offered to sell it. So just kind of made a decision to relocate. You know, there's definitely some disadvantages and advantages to this space. You know, the layout is, we wouldn't design the restaurant to be this way, but there are some benefits. I mean, being downtown has been great, like just the access to neighbors, other businesses, you know, the foot traffic. But you know, there's also something about being on the Upper East Side of Wooden and that we miss, parking being a big one. But we've done our best to try to bring in as much salvage material as possible from the Apple Cup, from the original Apple Cup. You know, these tables, you know, customers might recognize that we have refurbished for this space. We were able to, it was really important, the mural on the side of the building was painted by local artists, and a lot of contributions done from high school students at the time. It was important to the community that we salvaged that, and we were able to. We actually literally circular sawed through the side of the building and pulled off half the wall. The projected opening date is June 26th. There's a couple hurdles that we have to get through to get there, and we're doing everything we can to ensure that those are met, and we meet that opening date. As far as anything special, I was asked if we were doing a soft opening, and I honestly, I've been so busy focused on getting this place ready that we haven't really even considered what it's going to actually be like once we open. So I don't know if there's going to be anything huge and monumental when we open. You know, we'd love to, and we need to reach out to, but we'd love to have our first meal served here be to the firefighters locally. You know, we were just so grateful for all their attempts in trying to save the old building that that we want to try and give back, and you know, as we are resurrected here, we want to show our gratitude to them and bring them in for a first meal. But otherwise, we're just going to open the doors and see what happens.
We're flying by the seat of our pants, as always.
Yeah.
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. Hope you had a great weekend. Lots of wind on Saturday. A little cool yesterday and not so bad. And today, hazy smoke out there. As you can see as we look down outside our weather window at the Wenatchee Valley from our Wenatchee Heights tower camera, you can see some of that smoky haze we mentioned earlier. Moderate air quality in the Wenatchee and North Central Washington areas, really, with our number right around that 60 mark. So we'll keep our eye on that. I think a lot of this smoke will scour out overnight tonight and bring a much better day on Tuesday. In fact, speaking of Tuesday, we do have warmer weather moving our way. We'll see some sunshine with increasing clouds, temperatures in the upper 80s. Wednesday, we'll see some breezy conditions. Not so bad Thursday, more breezy conditions Friday. And then when we get into Saturday, we are talking temperatures in the upper 80s and mid 90s then as we end our weekend on Sunday. We'll get to that in a second. Today's high temperature unofficially just about where we should be for this time of year, not only in our high temperature but also our low. 79 and 57 today, 80 and 56 are our normal highs and lows for this time of year. Look at that record high, 105 degrees set back in 1992. Our record low, 46, and that was in 2009. Sunrise this morning, 5:05, and sets tonight at 9:02. All right, taking a look at what we can expect for your Tuesday. We said warmer temperatures, and here we go. 90s for Moses Lake and Ephrata, almost 90 in Quincy. Think around 87 for right here in the Wenatchee Valley. 86s, Eniat, Chelan, and up in Omak. 83 for Lake Wenatchee, and also mid-80s for both Leavenworth and for Kashmir. As we take a look at tonight, high pressure in control of our weather. We'll still see some of that hazy smoke into our evening hours, but boy, mainly clear skies tonight with low temperatures on the mild side, right around 60 degrees. For your Tuesday, increasing clouds, just a little trough of low pressure in Canada will drag some of those clouds through Washington State on Tuesday. We will see a warm up though with a southwesterly flow of air. High temperature, I think, closer to the upper 80s than the mid 80s for Tuesday. And then partly cloudy and breezy. Once again, low pressure to our east, high pressure to our west. That'll kick up the winds on Wednesday. Cool us off a little too, with temperatures back down into the low 80s for Wednesday. Partly cloudy and mild on Thursday, much less wind than Wednesday. We'll see highs again about where we should be, a little bit warmer than normal in the low 80s. For Friday, back to those breezy conditions. Once again, low pressure over in Montana and some wind there. We will see breezy weather Friday afternoon. Temperatures staying consistently into the low 80s, at least into the end of the week. But boy, by the time we get into the weekend, our high pressure slides south, and that'll drag a lot of warm air our way. Lots of sunshine, temperatures in the upper 80s to kick off the upcoming weekend. And boy, when we get into Sunday, clear skies all over the western United States. And let's just say it, downright hot as we get into Sunday afternoon with high temperatures in the mid-90s. All right, your 7-day forecast, 59 overnight tonight, increasing clouds and warmer tomorrow, 87. A little cooler for Wednesday and breezy at 83. A nice day for Thursday and 82, and then back to maybe some breezy conditions for Friday as we stay in the low 80s, and then that warm to even hot weekend. Sunny on both Saturday and Sunday, 88 Saturday and 94 your high temperature on Sunday. And that's a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Dan Kuntz and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
What once was old now is new to the NCWLIFE channel. Tune in for Bonanza, Superman, The Andy Griffith Show, The Beverly Hillbillies, The Invisible Man, The Lone Ranger, and The Lucy Show.
Check your program guide for classic programming on NCWLIFE Channel, your local TV station.
The Seattle Mariners rode 5 home runs in a 14-6 blowout over the Cubs yesterday. Donovan Solano homered twice. He drove in 5 runs. Cal Raleigh hit his 31st homer of the year. That leads all of Major League Baseball. And Dominic Canzone, he went deep twice in the contest. The Mariners take 2 of 3 from the Cubs.
1 out, 1 on. Here's Cal Raleigh. 3 home runs his first 2 games of this series. He goes after the first pitch. A high riser, center field. Cal Raleigh bombs away again. Straight away center field. It's his 4th home run in 3 games on the north side. He just continues to charge through the record books. Number 31 this year for Cal Raleigh.
Munoz was warming up, and he's been here, 3 times, but he has never actually been able to pitch in a game.
Canzone deep the opposite way. Dom Canzone let it fly. The Mariners' 2nd home run in as many innings. It's a 3-1 Mariners lead. Here's Donovan Solano. Now this is a rocket out to left field and gone. Donovan Solano joins the party. Mariners' 3rd homer today. It's a 4-1 Mariners lead. All right, here he comes.
Going out into left field to get the baseball after it was thrown back. That's Donovan Solano's 2nd home run of the season.
Fires to Crawford. Ooh, got it. To first, doubled him up. Look what I found. Colin Ray. Right place, right time, double play, ends the inning. Bam. Look what I found. Perfect. Go to the bottom of the 4th.
So 2 outs and Cal Raleigh at 2nd. Here is Arozarena. Brujan can't get to this one. Here comes Cal Raleigh rounding 3rd base, and on his way home it's bobbled out there by Suzuki. Arozarena tiptoes into 2nd base. He drives in a run for the Mariners, and they play a little add-on here in the 5th. 5-1 M. Canzone deep out to right field. If it's fair, and it's going to be plenty fair, it leaves a dent in the scoreboard. Dom Canzone practically knocked it over. And the Mariners now have a 2-run lead. That ball was blasted by Canzone. Here is Solano. On its way out to left field. Solano has tagged his 2nd today. Donovan Solano is feeling good recently. It's a 9-4 Mariners lead in the 7th inning. Now, who is this guy?
And where has he been?
On a 2-2. Hit hard, fair into left field. Julio waltzes home. Cal Raleigh makes the turn. And the Mariners just keep on adding on here in the 8th inning. This time, it's Randy Arozarena. Up the middle, hit firm, base hit center field. Young scores. Arozarena runs through a stop sign and gets in there easily. Donovan Solano brings home 2 more, and the Mariners have matched their season high 14 runs today against the Cubs. The 1-2 popped up. Mastroboni, the former Cub, puts the squeeze on a Mariners.
Brian Wu is towing the rubber as we speak for the Mariners. Bailey Ober pitches for the Twins. That game is going on right now in Minneapolis, but don't change the channel. We need the ratings. To the scoreboard yesterday, the Astros won again, which means Houston's lead over Seattle remains at 5 games. Texas is 7 games back. The Angels are 7.5 games back. And the Athletics are the Athletics. Not a good weekend for the Wenatchee Apple Sox. They've been scoring a lot of runs, but they went up to Edmonton over the weekend. Didn't score a lot of runs, just 7 runs over the course of 3 games. They got swept by the Riverhawks 2-0, 5-2, and then 6-5 yesterday. Off today, 3 games in Bellingham on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Bellingham now has a 1.5 game lead over the Wenatchee Apple Sox. They'll be back home at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium on Friday to take on the Victoria Harbor Cats. And our cameras We'll be there, but I won't. I have Friday night off, and those are just some of the games that people are playing.
And that will do it for our newscast tonight. For more news from around North Central Washington, you can find us at ncwlife.com, on our social media channels, or on our mobile app for iPhone and Android. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. Email us at news@ncwlife.com or call 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us, and have a great night.